Right guys, welcome back to another CrosseMaths lesson. Okay, what I'd like you to do is can you pause the video now, have a go at the challenge grid, okay? It's worth 18 marks, anywhere between around 12 to 15 is really good. We're doing expanding double brackets today, so a new topic again for lots of you. Should have a vague idea of how to do it. Pause the video now and have a go. Right guys, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and go through every single one as slowly as I possibly can, only because I know lots of people, lots of these topics might be new. Okay, if you're finding it a little bit too slow, feel free to skip to the answers. So what I'm going to do, I've got x over 5 plus 8 equals 48. So I've got to solve this. In order to solve it, I've got to get x on its own. I'm going to have to get rid of that plus 8 first. I'm going to take away 8 to both sides. X over 5 moves straight down. Plus 8 minus 8 makes nothing. 48 take away 8 is 40. Once I'm there, I'm going to have to times by 5 to get rid of that divided by 5. If I times x over 5 by 5, I just left with x. 40 times by 5 gives me 200. First one done. Next one, I got 0.4 times 0.8. Easiest way to think about this, just do 4 times 8 in your head. 4 times 8 is 32. Then I've got 2 numbers after the decimal point of my answer, so I count back 1, 2, put a decimal point in my question, 0.32. 1 mark. Okay, a bit of trigonometry. Okay, this is a little bit more complicated, not loads. Okay, all you've got to do, follow your same steps every single time. Learn labelling your sides first. Okay, there's my angle. So opposite my angle is the opposite side. The long slanty side, the one that looks like a slide, is my hypotenuse. And the one that's left is adjacent. Adjacent just means sat next to. Now once I've done that, that's my first step. Once you're good at that, move on to the next step, which is writing SOHCAHTOA. Okay, once you're good at that, okay, what you're going to do, you need to eliminate one of the sides from SOHCAHTOA. Okay, we're going to get rid of the one we don't need. Now, we need adjacent because that's what we're looking to find. We need hypotenuse because that's got 7. We don't need opposite because it's not got anything labelled on it. So we're going to get rid of opposite, and you're left with CA. What that tells you is you're going to be using your cos triangle. So we've got cos in the bottom left, A on top, H in the bottom right, multiply in between them. Now, we want to find A. So I'm going to write down A equals. Now what you need to do when you're trying to find out something, you cover that thing on a triangle with your thumb, okay? And whatever's left is you're working out. My working out, if I cover A with my thumb, is cos times H. So cos 37 times by 7. If you put all that in your calculator, you should get 5.36. I normally write it to 3 significant figures. Okay, 1 decimal place is okay too. 5.36 centimeters, that's all trigonometry is. So it's not as difficult as people make out. That's worth 3 points. Factorise and solve. Okay, I'm going to put this into a double bracket. So this is kind of the opposite of what we're doing today. This is going backwards. We're going to be expanding. Okay, you've got to put this into 2 brackets. So it can be x on both sides. You've got to find 2 numbers that multiply to make positive 4 and add to make positive 5. Quite an easy one because the only options you've got are plus 1 and plus 4. If x plus 1 and x plus 4 goes inside the bracket and they multiply to make 0, you could have 2 different values for x if you solved it. You could either have this left-hand bracket cancelling out to make 0, which would mean x would have to be minus 1, or the right-hand bracket would cancel out to make 0, x would have to be minus 4. Okay, one of the brackets has to cancel out to make 0 if your answer is 0. And that's it. Bit of indices work. Okay, I'm going to take the 2 front numbers, 6 and 2. I'm going to divide them. 6 divided by 2 is positive 3. Once I'm there, I take my powers and I subtract them. Okay, so x6 and x3, 6 take away 3 is just 3. So my answer is 3x to the power of 3. Easy stuff. Okay, 6 over 7 take away 2 over 3. I've got to make the bottom numbers the same. So what I'm going to do to do that, I'm going to multiply them together. 7 times 3 gives me 21 on the bottom of both. Still a takeaway question, so that stays in the middle. Next, I'm going to multiply. 3 times 6 is 18. 7 times 2 is 14. Because there's 21 on the bottom in the question, got to be 21 on the bottom in the answer. 18 take away 14 is 4. 35% of 180. Okay, 10% first is always the one we go for first. Divided 180 by 10 is 18. Times it by 3 to get 30%. 54. And then I need a half 10% to get 5, because I'm going to need 5 and 30% to make 35%. Half of 10% is 9. If I add those two up, 35% of 180 is 63, by adding the two bottom ones up. Okay, a bit of simultaneous equations. Okay, what I need to do, I need to make the numbers in front of the y the same. Okay, in order to do that, I'm going to times the top by 3 and the bottom by 2. What that'll do is it'll make them both into a 6. All of the top times 3 is 9x plus 6y equals 48. All of the bottom times 2 is 8x, take away 6y equals 20. Now if I add those two together, you end up with 17x, 6y's cancel out, 48 plus 20 is 68. The reason we added them together is because you want to cancel them out. Okay, so if they were both positive, I would have taken away to make them disappear. If you add a minus and a plus and it's the same value, they cancel. 17x equals 68. If I divide through by 17, x would equal 4. Because I know x equals 4, I can come back to my question. I got 3x plus 2y equals 16. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2y equals 16. Take away 12 from both sides, 2y equals 4. Divide by 2, y has to be 2. Really easy simultaneous equations question. To be honest, it won't get any more difficult than that in the exam. The only thing it will change is you'll have one horrible answer, like one of the y will be a decimal or a negative number. Right, so nth term, okay, you want to look at the jumps first. This is going down in 2 each time, so it's going to be minus 2n, and then whatever comes before the first number goes after the n. Before my 15 is positive 17, so my nth term formula is minus 2n plus 17. Right guys, pause the video now, mark everything, give yourself a score of 18. Hopefully you should be fairly consistent by now, or at least improving. Anywhere around 15 is really good. Right then, so I'm just going to start with the basics, okay? Expanding basic brackets, okay? So what I got on the left-hand side, 3, you're going to times everything inside that bracket by 3. Okay, so 3 times x is just 3x. 3 times 4 is 12, plus goes in the middle. Next one, 5x times x is 5x squared. 5x times 5 is 25x. Minus goes in the middle. On the bottom one, we can't just chuck the sign in the middle because minus 3x times positive x, you end up with minus 3x. And minus 3 times minus 6, two negatives multiplied together, they turn into a positive. Minus 3 times minus 6 is positive 18. Okay, hopefully you get that and you've done this before. Okay, if you haven't, don't worry. Okay, it's worth learning it now. Okay, so all you're doing is you're multiplying each thing inside the bracket by what's on the outside. Okay, and then writing it underneath. Can you pause the video now, get the example down on the left, and have a go at the one on the right? Right, hopefully you should be done. You should end up with 4x minus 12, 4x squared plus 8x, and 14x squared minus 21x. Okay, pause the video now, make sure those are marked. If you got them all right, that's amazing, well done. Right then, so, first task, okay, what I'd like you to do, pause the video for me. Have a go at one of the boxes, okay? Red is easy, green is difficult. Okay, have a go at one. It doesn't matter which one you do. If you get it, most of it right, that's the important bit. It's more important, do you try and hit a box, do you think, you know what, I think I can do that, then try one that's too hard and get them all wrong and destroy your confidence. Okay, pick the one you think your confidence is at the moment. Pause the video and have a go. Right guys, so the answers you should have had. You should have had something that looks like this. Okay, mark whatever you've done so far. Right, cool. Hopefully those are all marked and you understand expanding a single bracket. Now, expanding a double bracket is a little bit different. We use something, when we're expanding double brackets, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, we use something called FOIL. Okay, now what FOIL stands for, you've got first, outside, inside, last. Now that'll make sense in a second. Okay, you don't have to write that every single time once you get good at it, but when you're learning, you have to write the word FOIL out, and I want you to follow these steps just because when you're learning it will help. So what I mean by first, I mean the first two numbers or letters in both brackets. The first two, the ones that are on the furthest left in each bracket, are the x and the x. X times x is just x squared. Okay, outside edges are the two outside numbers, so I've got x and positive 3, so my outside edges are just 3x. Inside means inside edges, so my inside edges of my brackets are 4 and x, 4x. And my last is the 4 and the 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Okay, so I've multiplied everything together. What you're going to do then, you're going to write that in one straight line. So I've got an x squared plus a 3x plus a 4x plus 12 on the end. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to simplify anything that can be simplified. It's usually just the middle bits. So these bits by here can be simplified. So x squared stays by there, plus 7x in the middle, 3x plus 4x, plus 12 on the end. And that is it. All you're doing with the FOIL thing is making sure you multiply everything by everything. And that's all we're doing essentially. So your answer is x squared plus 7x plus 12. If you understand factorising, it's just going backwards. Now, I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom. I'm going to use FOIL again, but I'm not going to write out first, outside, inside, last. I'm just going to write the word FOIL, because hopefully we know what it means now. Okay, first two, 2x and 3x. 2x times 3x is 6x squared. Outside edges for O, minus 6 and 2x is minus 12x. Inside edges for I, 4 and 3x is positive 12x. And last two numbers are 4 and minus 6, which is minus 24. I'm going to write all those in one straight line, 6x squared minus 12x plus 12x minus 24 in the end. Okay, what happens is these two again will simplify. So I've got 6x squared. These two actually in the middle, minus 12x plus 12x, what happens is they cancel, just leaving you with minus 6x minus 24. And that can happen. So what I'd like you to do, guys, hopefully that makes some sort of sense. Okay, if you're trying for intermediate, you're in a lower year, or you are an intermediate already, that should make perfect sense to you. Can you pause the video now, get your example down from on the left, and have a go at the ones on the right? Right then, so should be all done now, so I'm going to do exactly the same thing. What I'd like you to do though, once you get really confident, you can skip the FOIL step. That's fine, okay, but you've got to get confident first. First two, x times x is x squared. Outside edges, x times 3 is 3x. Inside edges, 7 times x is 7x. And last two, 7 times 3 is 21. Write those in one straight line. Okay, if you are going to skip the FOIL step and you think you've got it good, you still need to do all of this bit, okay, over here. You need to make sure you're doing this. So these two lines of working need to be there. You're going to simplify this middle bit to x squared plus 10x plus 21 on the end. Okay, that should be your answer. That's what you should have gotten. Same thing underneath, FOIL again. Okay, you want to get to the point where you're fed up of doing it, and then you'll know you're really good. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. Outside edges, 3x times negative 3 is minus 9x. Inside edges, 5 times 2x is 10x. At last, 5 times minus 3 is minus 15. So we've got 6x squared minus 9x plus 10x minus 15. I'm going to simplify the middle, so I end up with 6x squared minus 9x plus 10x is positive 1x, negative 15 on the end. So 6x squared plus 1x, take away 15. That's what you should have gotten. So hopefully you've gotten lots of those right. If you got them all right, that's fab. If you got some right, that's okay too. Okay, you're going to have a practice now. Right, what I'd like you to do, exactly the same as I said earlier on. These red, amber, green boxes are important. You don't have to go on to green just to prove that you've gotten it. If you can do red, you understand this topic. Okay, the reason I do red, amber, green is just it depends where your confidence is at on this topic. So what I'd like you to do is pause the video now and have a go at the one that reflects your confidence. Remember, green is the hardest one, red is the easiest one. if you get one of them right and you get all 6 right, that means you understand this topic and you've done amazing. Right, so hopefully those are done. Okay, the answers to the grids, to the boxes are in front of you now. Mark those for me. Okay, if you got all of the boxes that you chose correct, that's fab. Well done. Brilliant. Right, so last thing we're going to do. Okay, we are going to have a go at a little bit of a where is your confidence grid. And if you're doing this, like wherever you're doing it, okay, what I'd like you to do, if you go on right, don't know why my highlighter won't work. If you go on right, just want you to colour it in, okay? Just colour it in as you go. I want to see how far along you can get. Start on the left, see if you can get all the way to the right hand side. Pause the video now and have a go. Right then, so you should be all done with that, guys. I'm not going to go through all of them, okay? I'm just going to go through the ones that might not make much sense. That one goes with this one, and the bottom one goes with that one. Okay, I'm just going to go through super confident one at the end. Okay, if you got cautious 1, cautious 2, and maybe one of the confidence done, that is amazing. If you got all the way to the end, you're probably a higher tier pupil, and you're probably in one of the younger year groups. Right then, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to very quickly go through super confident one on the end. Okay, only because I think lots of people might find that quite difficult. So, if you're working out the area of a triangle, I'm going to ignore this side because we don't need it. You don't need the slanty side. You just need the height and the base. Area of a triangle is base times height. And then at the end, you've got to divide it by 2. Now, the base times the height. My base is 3x. Take away 5. My height is x plus 2. I'm going to multiply those out. Okay, exactly the same as I did earlier on using FOIL. 3x times x is 3x squared. Outside edges gives you 6x. Inside edges is minus 5x, and last is negative 10. Okay, I'm going to simplify the middle to I'll get 3x squared plus x minus 10. And remembering what I said earlier on at the start, when we're working out area of a triangle, I've multiplied them together. You've also got to divide it by 2. If I divide all that by 2, I end up with 1.5x plus 0.5x minus 5. Okay, exactly the same as the answer by there. Okay, guys, if you got lots of those right,